So I'm gonna make a couple videos. I want to make a couple videos. The first one is my computer's doing that again. Running Windows. It's a bad thing. Um, I want to be direct and just go through them. I'm decided I make them separate videos. I slightly like better going through a bunch of stuff that I have at one time in one time now. Um, but back in the day, I liked having to limit myself to 5 and 10, 15 minutes progressively. Okay, so the first thing is I've been sick the last couple days. Man, as sick as I've been in years. So I have sinus things that'll flare up, but this was like a flu. I'm still sick, but I was able to work today. But what was interesting about this to me, and I wanted to talk about was so on Wednesday I was working, and as a matter of fact, this asterisk already. I was in Das Spook's hangout. He was painting and stuff, and I went in there and I was just chatting with him for a while. And then I coughed or something. He's like, "Oh, you're getting a cold too." And I'm like, "No, it's probably because I smoke." And then while I'm talking to him, but I'm working, my back turned, but I'm talking, and I'm kind of curious to see if it would distract me too much compared to say listening to videos. And other, I do that a lot while I work, music and videos. Sometimes the sometimes videos can be distracting, right? I've learned some kinds of concentration is better to turn off for certain kinds of things. Which brings up another issue I'm going to talk about in a different video, maybe not today. Um, so anyway, it turned out I did have a cold. And then here's what happened. So while I was talking to him, though, I was like, "This is amazing." Because I've been working on something, kind of banging not really my head against the wall, but a hammer, and it's like, how thick is this fucking wall? And I pretty much figured I had it figured out, which is one reason, I could go ahead and listen to this conversation and try to finish it. And lo and behold, I tried a couple things and it worked. Things I've been fiddling around with because it's a complex interaction of various things, and it worked, right? And so then I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to go on to other things. It's gonna have to test and stuff, so I better go because I won't be able to concentrate while I figure out what the next stuff I need to do is. When you're going steady and you know what you're doing, you can do it. And I slacked the guy at the lead programmer at the company, my client, and hey, I got it. I'll just clean it up. And then as I'm looking at it, I figured, well, I'm going to test it a little bit more, sanity check it. Always do that. And I started to get confused. It looked like it didn't work, and I'm like, it just worked. And then it looked like it worked. And then I'm looking at the code trying to figure out, well, what's the little thing? I mean, I thought I had it working, and and I found myself confused by something that had been becoming clear to me. Now that can happen naturally and for a good reason if your thought that you understood something doesn't pan out. But monitoring my mental state as I do, which is what this is about, and it's really the main method that I have for all my thinking, um, is a way I could tell how much confusion I have, because that's another thing. I've always, or at least since my late teens at college, when I remember first, telling people, arguing this to people, that confusion is a good thing. All knowledge comes from confusion. When you have a false belief, only letting yourself be confused can free you from it. And if you have a true belief, only freeing yourself from it and letting it confuse you again can convince you it's really true as it keeps condensing. As a skeptic, the point is you should always, I think, do this process, or at least if you want to get smarter. So I can tell how confused I am about things. And when I'm learning and researching things in code, I don't worry about it. I embrace it. I try to go in and get as much confusion as I can handle in sort of a cloud of confusion, or a metaphor, which is actually literally true also. If I'm in a new area, my preferred way to find out all the little side streets and where the little stores and interesting things might be, parks and stuff, is to just like randomly drive around. Like, I'll go to the store, and on the way back, instead of going the way I learned, I'll just go some other way. And in the age of GPS, this works out great, but I used to do it before GPS. But with GPS, it's great because then when you want to go home, you say, okay, what's the way home now? And you can go pretty directly. Whereas in the old days, sometimes I'd have to trace my way back. But eventually, I'd find the throughways and things like this, or I'd try, using the directions, to figure out how can I circle in, or I know there's a freeway over there, so if I go this far, eventually I'll hit that freeway and I can take it back to the exit I know. Now, GPS, you just do it. So I embraced that and I could tell. And so I was monitoring myself and I was like, I don't know why I feel tired. I got enough sleep, but I obviously need to take a break. And then when I took a break, I fucking crashed and got within the half hour after that was feeling sicker and more achy than I have felt in, I don't know, I want to say 10 years, but at least 6 or 7 years, I think, longer. Um, so that's about, scanning how the intellectual emotions, right? Good thinking is actually being able to feel things. Like most people are scared of confusion. They don't want to be caught confused. Why? Because if the bully or predator knows you're confused at a given moment in time, T, that's valuable knowledge for them. They can take advantage of that confusion. So we're trained by evolution and by our experience from bullies and whatnot to not let people know you're confused. But I don't do that and I don't care. I think people are idiots to be in denial about emotions, including confusion. And if instead you embrace it, then you can see them out. And that's how you can sort out confusion. A lot of people just fossilize their confusion into a big hodgepodge ball, like Gary. It's like whatever is confusion is actually got to be the law of the universe, right? So, so anyway, it stops working, right? And then I figured that was just confused and that it wasn't working, and I just took a day and a half off, um, which I didn't want to, and I slept like what, probably 22 hours out of 48, and um, and when I came back today, expecting to find the problem, but refreshed and knowing it's like I'm gonna figure this out. I did understand it. It was, because I did some other not so bright thinky things that showed me, yeah, this sickness, this flu or whatever it was, has really had a mental aspect for me more than I've ever noticed in the past. Usually I could program sick. I might be too achy to want to sit in a chair, but often if you're just a little sick, getting on the internet is something you would do. Um, I don't like to program on my laptop, so on the bed and stuff like that. But you bundle up, you could, but I could not think straight. I couldn't. I was very confused about stuff. So I could see when that's happening, and say, okay, I need to take a break. Maybe I need a nap, but whatever the thing is. And then it turns out that I'm sick. And then I came back today, and it worked. It was working. The confusion I had had must have been that it wasn't working. Like I stopped the server and hadn't noticed, or something silly like that. In reality, it was good I stopped when I did, because I was at a point where I thought it wasn't working and it actually was. And I came back today and I was like, yeah, I don't trust that experience. And then fucking Windows, dim, bright, dim, bright. I've turned it off, but I hate Windows. I can do this on the other machine. I should. So fucking annoying. Fuck yeah. It gets in the cycle where it's changing the power. It's got 100% power. Why does it need to change from safety to non-safety, safety to non-safety? It's fucking ridiculous. And then I change the bright. This is the most shittiest operating system in the world. I have it, so for my machine, my native instrument machine, and sometimes it could be useful if I have to, for a client, use some software that some idiots make not work on Linux. So anyway, it worked. I spent like 4 hours testing it, thinking, no, it's going to have a problem. I'm going to find that problem again. No, the confusion, it works fine. So then I cleaned it up, and I've not done the pull request, but it's pretty much ready. But I figured still a little bit sick. I should not assume it's ready for the pull request. That can wait till Monday, or this weekend actually. I can make the work up if I want to, but I have a couple clients at the moment, so I might want to just work on the other client that didn't get any work all week because of this, and I'm only working a few hours for them. So um, that's post-gist stuff. I like that. I was glad to get that. It's a little pretty much just give him advice, but the advice is going to be, oh, okay, now could you do what you advised, or that's already happened. Gave him like 5 hours of advice on a 10-hour budget, which means doing research and answering some questions that they were curious about. And now they want me to do it, but there's some more testing to do. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. My brain's still moving a little bit slowly, but not too slowly to program. Slow is not a problem with programming. Slow can actually help. Getting panicked and trying to rush things is worse for professional, high quality programming. So the slowness isn't really a problem. The problem is if, like, I still had to put in my time, and my client has two accounts that they are billing my time to, and I worked, and so the Thursday I'd put in my time. I thought I'd just, go ahead and do it, put in the time for Wednesday, and I'd worked 3 hours and 45 minutes. And the time in the various time systems is sometimes it's in minutes and sometimes it's 0.75, so I worked 3.75. And so anyway, I had a real problem dividing that in two, which normally is not a problem. It's a half an hour off. But I fixed that, so don't worry. I'm going to get paid for that half an hour. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna start saying things I thought about too, as opposed to for a long time I've been uh, trying to foment the conversation, but I don't think you guys are really trying hard enough. Some of you for that. The people that I actually extend uh, conversation to, that we differ, it's not working. Why should I limit myself to the silly things everybody else is thinking? So I'm interested in comments on that, but I can't honestly say I brought this up to now put your thoughts in the comments below about what you, but I am interested. And I guess the summary is that, you know, I believe that you have intellectual emotions like curiosity, the excitement of discovery, that eureka feeling, intellectual frustration, all sorts of subtle differences among the kinds of curiosity. And you really got to monitor that, and so that being emotionally aware and able to admit and watch your own emotions could give you clues that help make you smarter. And I thought it was a good example because I was getting stupider. The flu was making me noticeably stupider. So I noticed that. And instead of renormalizing to my self identity as a non stupid person, I'm like, geez, there's some sort of a decline here, you know? And, and it was good that I did. It saved me a lot of time. And also, I'm glad that I didn't just try to work through it because I'm prone to sometimes doing that because I'm like, I can sit at a computer while I'm a little bit sick. What else am I going to do? But as I've been a contractor, yeah, I'm just talking to myself. Oh, really, Devon? Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna make a couple videos, and my brain was. I was. This whole video was about my brain wasn't sharp. I got sick, and so being smart is kind of like being able to notice when you're not at your brightest. Was kind of. I was trying to. It's really just an anecdote about my last couple days, and turned into a parable. Um, well, I'm gonna make a couple videos, and I don't think I have enough energy for. Plus, there's a Downton Abbey marathon going on for a hangout or anything. But I don't know. If there was a group, I might do a little bit of that. Anyway, that I'm talking to Devon Jones in the comments over here. It's the interesting thing about this live thing is that even with 15 minutes or so, just like you get your first few views, because of the statistics, you start getting them. So you make a 15-minute video. People, it's always someone different because it's totally the randomness. It's not like people, Everybody's waiting on their feed. As soon as there's a live feed, they go to the, no, some people might be doing that, but that's even random. Did they see the feed? Anyway, it's interesting. I forgot that that was your name, but I did remember that I knew you, and I remember that, Devon. But I didn't remember that that was your handle, but I remember it now. But I mean, I already knew you were the same person, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'd be interested in talking to you again as well. So let's do that. Well, I mean, I'm planning. Oh, it's New Year's. Um, I'm planning to do my show on Sunday, but is that New Year's Day or what's the fuck's going on? Let's see. I'm still not too quick, I guess, at the moment. So today's 32, and then it would be Saturday. So Sunday, yes, is. So that'll be okay. It's New Year's, not New Year's Eve. So okay. So you're welcome there, but if you want to talk otherwise, we could do that too. All right. Cheers.